What's up, strugglers? Comic King here. Welcome back to another episode of Breakdown Beatdown, episode 3. And today we are covering Batman Justice Buster, the entire manga series. And I'm accompanied by one of my best friends, Darth Crashout. Thanks for being here, bro.
Glad to be here.
Oh yeah. Okay, so strugglers, this series, Crashout actually read before I did, and I'm sometimes a little weird when it comes to. I love manga and comic books. However, mixing superheroes and manga, typically when it's been a DC or Marvel manga, I've kind of avoided it, if I'm being honest. However, Darth read this new series. Well, I think it's been coming over a few years. I know the book 4 just came out, right? I don't know how long volume 1 ago came out. It was probably at least, I think, either 22 or 23. I might be wrong, but the thing is, these take forever to translate. But anyway, Darth was like, yo, you got to read these. Gave me to borrow. And I read it over the last about a week, and I loved it. It's really cool. It's an Elseworlds take. Obviously, it's Elseworlds take. It's not canon, so it's how do you pronounce the author's name? Ilichi Shimizu. I the fuck out of that. But yeah, guys, strugglers. Breakdown Beatdown. Basically, we take a book and we break it down. We beat it down. We cover all the aspects. We either have people who have read the book on the show, people who haven't read the book on the show. No matter what, it's going to be discussion either way. So sit back, enjoy, pop a drink, and yeah, enjoy the show. And we're covering the entire series. And yeah, man. So to kick it off, like I said, it's an Elseworld style. It's an Elseworld story, and it's a really cool take. I feel like. Some of the best Batman stories over the last few years, especially since like 2020, have been Elseworld style Batman books. Because I don't know if I've talked to you about this. Main continuity Batman, in my opinion, has been in the dumps. Detective Comics has had some really freaking great runs, right? But the main Batman book, I feel like, has kind of sucked for a very long time, in my opinion. Even when you have good writers come on, they're kind of. For example, Chip Zdarsky, he wrote like a really big Daredevil run I love. When he's one of my favorite Marvel writers. He came over to DC to write to jump on Batman. I was so pumped, but the run, in my opinion, kind of was a lot of people liked it, a lot of people don't like it. I'm kind of the group that doesn't like it because I feel like DC's kind of making Batman. My biggest fear is Batman's going to be where Spider-Man currently is in main continuity, where editorial doesn't allow creators to do anything they want with the story. I really don't like that. However, the best Batman books, I think, of the last several years have all been Elseworlds, alternate continuity. I mean, look how big Absolute Batman is right now. We're going to cover that one day. I mean, Batman the Imposter is one of my favorite Batman books in the last few memories. So anyway, it's really refreshing every time we get some. However, the Elseworlds market is usually flooded with Batman books compared to any other comic book character. And whether that be good or bad, you get a lot of books that just kind of so it's a while, sometimes, even though I feel like the best Batman books the last few years are Elseworlds, sometimes it takes a while for a book to stand out. However, I feel like this is one, and Darth got me on it. So yeah, it's really good. So it's about 4 volumes. So here's volume 1. I'll put images up, struggles for you to see, and we got volume 2. Yeah, we got them all here. But yeah, man. To start it off, we kind of. What do you think what do you think about it when you first started reading it, compared to what you've read so far? I know you're just kind of getting into it, but like,
When I read the first one, I thought it was kind of a slow start, and then the ending of the first one really left on a hook to kind of read the second one, and then the second one ended on a big, really big, giant hook, and then which made 3 and 4 really, really awesome, and I like the idea of it, and. Mostly, I got hooked on because Batman manga.
Yeah,
it's something I've never really heard of.
They've never. Well, I think this is This is the first time we've gotten a premiere just Batman series of manga. Like Batman's been in other mangas before, but usually it's either like That's why I've kind of avoided DC Marvel, where it's like sometimes it's seems like kiddish, like that. Now I know people like them. Maybe I'll check them out. But there's that Joker one and Superman one, and it's like the premises seem like just really kind of out there. Because manga that's different from American comics is manga will take a very specific like idea, like it is down to the like it's just like there's a manga over like cooking rice probably. There's a manga on basketball. There's a manga on really anything, and so they kind of there's been a lot of comedic ones with Marvel and DC, and I feel like there's been some maybe I don't know what Marvel. I know there's like a Deadpool Samurai manga out there. I thought the cover for that looked pretty cool, but anyway, I feel like this is the first one you told me about. This seemed like this is the first like it's kind of a serious book, you know. And I kind of the same thing with you. I thought the first book was okay. I was like, I've seen this before. The art is absolutely, I think, fantastic, especially just because like sometimes when the foreign publishers or whatever get an American property, sometimes it's half-assed. It's just kind of like whatever. But I will say the art they go all out with this book, and I feel like the art it gets really really good.
I, I thought they could have done more with the art.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. They could have done more, but I'd say for what it is, it's really good. Especially in my opinion, the latter half of book 3 and book 2, I feel like it looks really cool. Especially we'll get there, especially in book 3. But yeah, guys, so going through the story, we're kicking it off. Basically, the book opens with Batman's chasing Firefly throughout Gotham, and Batman appears to have he's got this series. It's almost like Iron Man Batman a little bit. Like he's got yeah, really high tech suits, and but the thing is. It's still Batman. He doesn't have like repulsors or anything. He doesn't fly. And he it's still Batman, like to his core. Like he's basically it's got grappling hooks. So instead of the grappling gun, it's like halted on his wrist. But anyway, it's really cool. And then his cape is only out when he like needs it. It pops out. It's a little bit like Batman Beyond, minus the jet boosters a little bit and the face guard, and it's really really cool. But yeah, he's chasing Firefly throughout Gotham. We kind of get to see what this manga inspired Gotham looks like. I was telling the Wayne Tower, and this is the PlayStation 5 tower. It looks like a freaking giant PS5 in my opinion. I'm just like, brother, I was like, you're already getting on my ass enough to buy PS5. You have to open this book, and this book's telling me fucking buy a PS5.
I'm telling you, just freaking buy one.
I know, I got to. But anyway, Batman basically catches up to Firefly. He beats him, but a little bit preceding that, it shows Batman. He jumps on these two goons. He's basically just doing Batman shit, right? And then it shows a kid and a kind of middle-aged older man eating dinner, and there's tea going. They're just kind of having a conversation, about, just random shit about clocks and stuff. And it's just like, okay, this kid's named Danny, whatever. It's just kind of like, when I first read this, I thought this was random. It's not random later on, but I thought this was just showing like what the population of Gotham sees when they look out their window and see the bat signal and like crazy shit that goes out, the fantastical elements of Batman. Because this is a very much a fantastical Batman universe. It's not like super gritty like the Batman movie or like Batman Imposter, where it's very realistic if Batman's in the real world. It's very, very fantastical. And anyway, this kid looks out this window and he sees the bat symbol, shine above GCPD, and then he also sees like Batman swinging and he's chasing Firefly. And this whole chase sequence, it's super exciting. And basically, when he catches up to him, there's the main change. I'd say one of the main changes with this series is Robin's in it, but he's not what you think. Turns out Robin is an artificial intelligence. He's an AI. He has a screen pop up, and it gives Batman, tells him how to basically take down Firefly. And basically he takes him down using the help of this AI. And it's very, very different right off the bat. And I was just like, when I saw that, you told me about it before I read the book, but I was just like, what? Very different. It's really cool though. So, but yeah, very different. I believe, Firefly looks like, he gets away. But yeah, what do you think of when it just popped up with a Robin AI?
I thought it was a good twist, like you said. and it kind of made sense,
Yeah,
because the DC Comics, he has Robin following him around,
yeah.
a little kid following big ass big ass dude around. I was like,
Well, it's cool because it's like
the Robin makes more sense.
yeah. Well, it's cool they call it Robin. It's just a little nod. Now, this definitely plays in later in the story because the first book, I will say, when you read the first book, it feels like a lot of random kind of stuff. That's just like, oh, it's just different. It's Batman, but different. It's just kind of throwing random ideas. But the thing is, it's all set up for the later half in the series. And it's really cool because, it's not like single issues and arcs, right? Like American comic books. Technically, this is all one arc. But manga, typically, I mean, mangas have arcs, but it's usually, since there's only a 4 book series, it's obviously a continuing story. And I just like never read a Batman manga before seeing it. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, he basically Firefly gets away and he goes back to the Bat computer. And basically, this is when Alfred shows up and Bruce is just explaining to him why he's got the AI, the Robin AI. And basically, Alfred's like, yo, you did a move out there, you almost died. Why did the AI? Because basically, the whole point of that Robin AI is it evaluates whatever whoever Batman's fighting or what he's doing or what obstacles he's trying to avoid, right? So it basically tells him, hey, instructs him, hey, do this move. It's basically like Jarvis but Iron Man, except that it's less interactive. Batman has to carry it out instead of like the suit just kind of doing it for him. Now the suit is a mechanical suit. It's a very much a futuristic Batman suit, and it's got the AIs connected to it, but it's still Batman doing these moves, right? And so the mover had to do to avoid whatever attack Firefly shot at him, he parried. And Alfred's like, why did you do that? It almost got it killed. And the AI, this is when he kind of showed like, okay, maybe Batman's a little over his head with this AI because it's testing every aspect of Batman's crime fighting. And so it was just like, yeah, Batman had a 98% chance percentile of surviving and parrying this attack that Firefly shot at him. And Alfred's trying to tell Bruce, like, yeah, it's looking out for me. It's telling me it's giving me the best course of action. And Alfred's like, okay, well, what about that like 2% though? It's an artificial intelligence. Anything can happen. It's still not like Jarvis. It's very different because Jarvis is like, it's kind of an AI, but it's whatever Iron Man wants it to be, right? Where this, how do I get it? Okay. Little side tangent to kind of help relate what I'm trying to explain to strugglers is that basically this series, it's a spin on not just the Batman mythos, but DC continuity and overall DC mythos that Batman is related to and is involved in, right? So this Robin AI, it's kind of an alternate take of. I was telling you this, bro. It's an alternate take of Brother Eye, the OMAC. There was this period in time where in Justice League is the story called Identity Crisis. It's a very infamous Justice League story. A lot of people don't like it. It's very divisive because it deals with very adult themes with the Justice League. And people were like, is that right? And it's really messed up. But I really love that book. It's not crisis like world ending stuff. It's just like a crisis amongst the heroes, right? And so basically something really bad happens and Batman sees it. And the overall, there's a specific group of members of the Justice League that make a decision in the heat of the moment that Batman disagrees with. And they know that Batman will never be able to look at the League the same way and trust him because it's freaking Batman. He's the most paranoid character in all of DC Comics. And so Zatanna, magic user in DC, wipes his memory. And he, because they're like, we can't have Batman figuring out about this. Well, eventually later in the story, Batman finds out that the Justice League lied to him and they wiped his memory and he loses his shit. And so he's like, I don't know if he leaves the League directly, but he's like, he loses trust in most of the Justice League. And he basically makes, Batman always has these countermeasures for the League. It's like the animated movie you mentioned, Justice League Doom, that's based off the Tower of Babel storyline. And Batman has all these countermeasures for all the Justice League's weaknesses, just in case they go rogue. Basically, he makes this project called the OMAC Project, and it is meant to be. You know how like Iron Man when he makes Ultron, he's like, "I'm gonna make a suit around the world." In the movie, not the comics, but in the movie, he's like a suit around the world. That's what Batman tries to do. The OMAC Project. Obviously, it doesn't go right. It goes terribly wrong, and makes the Brother Eye program. And basically, it's a rogue AI, and Batman. It happens during Infinite Crisis, and it's a whole shebang whatever. This is kind of a play on that, in my opinion, because it deals with Batman continuity. Because it's like, yeah, it's doing the right thing, but you're just like, yeah, but the AI is throwing suggestions to Batman. It's like, does it really understand what Batman's trying to do? And basically, like, Batman's mission is so dangerous. It's like, well, does it corrupt the AI? Anyway, Alfred has that, complaint and that idea, like, hey, just watch your back. But anyway, yeah, we keep going through, and basically the first book is basically he's just Batman's doing like he's basically coming across with a lot of Batman villains, right? So Batman shows up to the Iceberg Lounge to talk to Penguin. Apparently, someone's money was stolen. Batman's investigating it. He's just like, "Where's my money? Like, you took it. You're setting me up to blah 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 blah." Batman's like, "No, I didn't take your money." And basically, Penguin thinks that these other crime lords, basically the rest of Batman's rogues, like Two-Face and the Riddler, took it. Now, I haven't mentioned Struggler's Joker yet. One of the probably the biggest change of this book in this series is Joker, and since you read it, bro, do you want to talk about it? Because I did not see this coming when I was just like, wait, what? There's several reveals with this character, this version of the Joker. Here the first reveal is that he's like, yeah, I'm getting you take away because what do you think when you read that?
So, he has a partner. Well, the person claims that he's his partner, and Batman's like, I don't have a partner.
Yeah.
And then I forget the order because it's been like a while, but it reveals that the partner is Joker, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it looks nothing like the Joker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they kind of, could have used a different mask.
Yeah.
But
he's basically an operating vigilante. Like Batman's not the only vigilante. There's this other guy named Joker in Gotham that's also a vigilante, and he looks like John Constantine. He wears like a John Constantine style trench coat, and he's got a mask. Now, mangas are in black and white, so you don't know what the mask is, but I didn't catch this the first time I read it. His mask later says, like, I get Batman's talking to Superman later in the book. Superman's like, we'll get to that point. I'm jumping ahead, but just to explain Joker, Superman's like, what about, are you going to deal with that other vigilante in Gotham, Joker? That red mask vigilante. And it turns out that Joker, he basically wears a trench coat, and he's just a regular dude, and he wears a mask. Not like not a hockey mask, but like a what thieves wear or robbers or something. Looks like it's just a typical overhead mask, no ears or nothing. It's just a regular mask, but it's got a smile. It's got like eyelids, but he mentions the mask is red. Now, Batman fans, if you know who was the Joker before he became the Joker, he was the Red Hood. Depending on which interpretation, the Killing Joke wasn't really the Red Hood. The Red Hood was just a persona that they put him on. And he just happened to be the Red Hood get up when he fell into the vat and Ace Chemicals. He was set up, basically. Y'all know that. I don't got to explain it. You look at Zero Year, or the New 52 continuity of Red Hood. He was a crime boss who eventually fell in the vat, like he was an actual bad guy and became the Joker. Now, the original 1940s, Red Hood was a crime boss. It's later revealed. Basically, it's just a cool twist because it's like this guy calls himself the Joker, but he wears a red hood. It's just a cool play on the Batman mythos. That's what I'm trying to get at. Now, we'll get to the twist later. There's another twist revolving the Joker. There's two more. Basically all the twists in this book kind of revolve around the Joker. I'd say the biggest twist doesn't, but everything else in here revolves around Batman's relationship with the Joker. And the Joker's a good guy. He's a vigilante. Now, he kills people. Yeah. And basically you learn that the person, I won't tell you who it is yet, but the guy who becomes the Joker, he basically he was a private detective working in Gotham, just a dude, private detective. And he got beat up. He just started working a case and got beat up and basically looked up in the sky and saw the bat signal right around the time Batman became a known vigilante in Gotham. And he inspired the Joker to become the vigilante known as the Joker, to do stuff. He's a private detective by day, and then by night he just puts on the mask and just because Joker and basically does stuff he can't legally do as a private detective. Basically Batman, But it's cool because basically the Joker's following around Batman the entire story, like helping him out. Batman's like, he's being a dick, right? He's like, I don't fucking need your help. And but he's a good guy. He's trying to help Batman, right? But he's a very sarcastic asshole. And so he's just kind of like poking fun at Batman, like, what do you mean you don't need help? Like, bro, I've been here almost just as long as you. Like, let me help. And it's just a cool play because he's not a bad guy, right? But anyway, Batman, they're investigating Penguin. Someone stole his money. They don't know who it is. And we basically keep going through the book. And we see Batman's origin again. It's just kind of like, I feel like every Batman book it's got to do. Everyone's tired of it, but, This is a manga, so it's just like there's never been a main Batman manga before. So they do his origin again. They just show you, just basically catching up to speed with the story, right? And so then we come to uh that little kid that we saw at the beginning who saw Batman. His name's Danny, right? He basically okay, I'll just say the twist because it's like right away when you read the book. It's Dick Grayson. Danny's a cover-up name. It's not his real name. And so basically the Flying Graysons were killed 5 months prior to the start of the story. And he's investigating, even though he's a kid, he's investigating the deaths of his parents, right? He's basically, you think he's with that guy you saw him, he's like his guardian. He calls him Uncle Sam. And basically Uncle Sam was a clown in the circus that was friends with his parents, saw his parents die, and they're basically helping him. He took him in, right? That's what you think. And then basically Uncle Sam told Dick that, hey, someone killed your parents. People are probably after you. Let's change your name to Danny while you're with me. Move to Gotham, try to live a normal life, right? Which I don't know why the fuck you would move to Gotham to try to live a normal life. That's like the last city in the DC universe I want to fucking live in. Right. But basically he runs into that private detective, and basically they kind of have an interaction, and they have a really cool play. They have a really cool relationship in this book. And basically the private detective, sees that Dick gets into trouble, right? So he sees these kids getting picked on. He goes, kind of stands up, this guy gets beat up. And basically that's when the detective crosses paths with him, and they end up building a relationship, and the detective kind of takes him in. And when Danny asks his name, here's another big twist. We obviously know that this detective, just because he's wearing the same clothes behind this mask, is the Joker. Turns out it is fucking Jason Todd, that was another twist. I was like, wait, what? And I think you find that out. He doesn't say what his name is until I think book 2 is when he says who he is. But he's just the kind of dude. But like, it's like really cool. It's like, oh, Jason Todd's with Dick Grayson. It's like the first 2 Robins. It's like really cool. But Jason's older. Jason's an adult. He's already a full-time fledged adult.
Right. Yeah.
And he basically takes in Dick because he's just kind of like, this kid's trying to do something. I'm investigating a case. Basically where they cross paths, I believe, is in Crime Alley. And he asks, what are you investigating? He's like, Jason reveals, I'm investigating the death of the Waynes. And you're like, what? It's different. The whole bat world's thrown on his head. It's like just really different and cool. And yeah, this is kind of a big twist. What did you think about it when you got to that part, I guess you could say?
It was shocking. And I thought like some things were meant to, to stay in the Batman universe, no matter what. Like Jason being the Red Hood.
Yeah.
And later on, I think in Volume 3, where things were meant to be with the name Jason Todd. Can I say it all right?
We'll get there.
Okay, but
Volume 3 is my favorite book of the series.
It was kind of like in Into the Spider-Verse, where like the canon events, like some things are like that in that manga.
Yeah.
So,
y'all
like,
probably know what we're talking about. I guess we go ahead and tell them, because just by saying that they already kind of know.
So as we know, in Batman Death of the Family, Jason Todd gets beaten by a crowbar by the Joker.
By the Joker.
Later on, he gets killed. Jason Todd gets killed with the crowbar again. It's just
the chapter is called "A Death in the Family." It's like really cool. Yeah. That was my favorite chapter in the whole book. That Volume 3 feels the most like Batman to me, because like, even though the whole series is Batman, it's kind of a futuristic Batman book, and so there's a lot of stuff thrown into this series because it's only 4 books, and they're juggling. The team's juggling a lot when they made the book. But I feel like book 3 is the best because it deals with, we'll get there in the plot, but it deals with a particular case in the series that both Batman and Jason are investigating. And I guess Dick's not incoherently investigating this part of the case, but he gets involved because it surrounds him. But it felt the most Batman to me, like down to, just a typical Batman story they're investigating. Because the best Batman comics are like, the one shots. It's like he's working on a case, and of course, like, we always talk about, the arcs and stuff, but there's a lot of, I could give you a whole list of just single issues where it's just like a 1 or 2 parter arc, and they, either one or two issues, and it's just the case. So I feel like that's by far the most Batman-esque volume. I guess what I mean by that is like to regular continuity. You get what I'm trying to say? Yeah.
Mhm.
But we cut to Batman goes to either he goes to Metropolis. I think, yeah, he goes to Metropolis to see. He's got a meeting with. No, he's in Gotham. He's in Gotham. And Clark Kent comes to Gotham to schedule a meeting with Bruce Wayne. You're like, what? I mean, the series is called Justice Buster, which is, I assume is going to involve the Justice League in some capacity. And basically, Batman has a meeting with Clark Kent, and they already know who each other are. So that happened previously, or I guess Clark doesn't realize Bruce knows he's Batman, but Clark I think knows that Bruce is Batman, right? And then basically they figure each other out right there at the table. And it's kind of a realistic depiction because I feel like if they ever met, in
That's
main
what would have been.
continuity, like they'd find out fucking immediately, Or I mean, so not real. I feel like if Superman met Batman, yeah, he did. Now the best I feel like my favorite time they've ever met in any kind of medium is Superman the animated series. They did a 2-part or a 3-part World's Finest crossover where they meet in the Diniverse, the Timverse for the first time, and basically when he meets Bruce Wayne, he doesn't realize he's Batman, but then he realizes he's Batman, and when he meets him as Batman, when they confront, but also like you look at like BVS, dude, like he's going on that mission and he's got the earpiece in that scene when him and Clark meet for the first time. And Clark, could obviously hear it. He's got super hearing. He's like, oh, you're obviously fucking Batman. Like they just know, right? And so, they're the two. Obviously, they would know. But this is my least favorite part of the book. I think this is why it's called Justice Buster, because what Batman ends up making towards the end of Volume 1, which we'll get to in a second, I was like, okay, it relates to the Justice League. I feel like you didn't need to have the Justice League in this book. Or it's really just Superman. The Justice League show up at the very end of the book, which you probably would assume, but I don't feel like you need to have Superman in here. Do you think that it literally serves no purpose to the story?
Right. Just I would say it's like a MacGuffin, but like
Yeah.
Superman, the beginning doesn't really lead to anything,
Yeah, it does. It basically it leads. The whole point of having this is that a Batman eventually gives in and joins the Justice League by the end of the book. He learns a lesson, which we'll get to. And I guess the purpose they have Superman in this series is because because like the lesson Batman learns doesn't even fucking learn from Superman at the end of this book. Because Batman, like the Batman film, has an epiphany. He's got to change the way he approaches. But instead of like I'm vengeance, not consume that. I need to um, not do that. Like at the end of the Batman movie, the whole conception in this story is Batman's whole conception of justice is kind of fucked up. And even though he knows, I think he's smart enough, he knows what real justice is. His version of justice he learns. We'll get there, but the lesson he learns is he needs to hope again and bring his expertise to the light, and he joins the Justice League. But the thing is I was like, okay, oh yeah, he has Superman from this book because he kind of like maybe like Snyder's story. He's inspired by Superman. No, he doesn't even learn the fucking lesson from Superman. It's from Jason. He has like a fucking visual. Yeah, fuck. Yeah. He's fucking awesome. But he sucks in. Okay, I'll say he fucking sucks in this book.
Super shit.
Yeah, he sucks in this book. Superman's a dick in this book, but I think it's only because Batman's a fucking jackass. Batman is
the ass and Superman stands for suck.
No, fuck you. Batman rage baits the fuck out of Superman in this book. It made me chuckle a few times because it's like he's like Superman actually when they meet he means good. He has good intentions, and it's just funny because he's just like, hey, like I believe what you're doing is right. You should join Justice League. Batman's like, no, fuck you. I joined your fucking piss ass league. You suck. Like he's rage baiting him for no reason. He's like, I don't trust you because you're an alien. Blah 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 blah. And when DC rebooted continuity in 1986 with Infinite or Crisis on Infinite Earths, Dark Knight Returns came out around the same time, and so Dark Knight Returns kind of established like, oh, these guys like, yeah, they're friends, but like they don't like each other all the time. They get in a fight. Now, adapting that to the main continuity, I don't really like because the reason for Batman frustrating Superman is not because he hates him in that book. He's frustrated, but that's also an alternate universe. Superman's working for the government. You can't compare that, in my opinion, to the normal continuity. But they're like, I'm going to bring that in. And so basically the first few interactions Batman and Superman meet, after Batman Year One and Man of Steel by John Byrne, they learn to kind of work together, but they don't really like each other, right? And so multiple reboots since then and continuity and stories, they've kind of like when Batman and Superman first meet, they don't necessarily like each other. Hell, they made a fucking movie about it. And so
Right.
it's yeah, and so basically, but the thing is, I feel like all those reasonings and every other story, while they don't like each other, is better than what's presented in here. Because like
Yeah,
Batman's
there's
just
always done
a
to death, you know.
yeah, he's just like, I hate you because you're an alien. He's doing with the smiling face. He's like, you fucking suck. I ain't joining your fucking league.
Which
Like,
is
yeah,
good enough for you,
if you ever come into Gotham, step foot in my city, that day will be your last. And it's like, Jesus Christ, Batman, he's done nothing to you except, hey, let me come join my like superhero club. It's like there's no because you could argue like Batman Superman fight for stupid reasons in BVS, but it's like it's a better reason than this. Superman partly is responsible for a fucking city being fucking destroyed and people Batman care about dying. That's a reason for Batman to hate somebody, right? And this, it's like, oh, I just hate you because like you invited me to join the Justice League. How dare you? I work alone. It's like
Well,
Jesus Christ, dude.
some people are just haters.
Yeah. Batman's a fucking hater. You know what's funny is he's the only Superman's like the only person Batman actually kind of like treats bad in this book. Because Joker, who's a vigilante, he's trying to help Batman, actually like kills people and stuff, and Batman's just like, stop it, just stop it, come on. But I guess you could help me out, like whatever,
Right.
And so it's just like, it's just kind of funny. But I know it sounds like I'm hating on. I really really dug this book. I really liked it. It's definitely one of the best Elseworld books I've read in a minute. I'm dogging. I'm just saying my biggest critique with it is they didn't need to have Superman in this. I feel like I guess it makes sense. They haven't announced it. Maybe I'll look it up. I can't pronounce his, I don't want to butcher his name again, so I can't pronounce his name. But the team that did this book, I guess that only makes sense having the League and Superman in here is if he's going to make like a sequel Justice League series. Because there was a Justice League manga, but it has nothing to do with this book or this universe.
Yeah, that might be the next thing, but I really haven't heard any news.
Well,
And
this seems like a one and done
Volume
book.
Volume 4 just came out.
Yeah,
like November last year, I think. So like, they're probably still thinking about it.
Yeah. Even if they do, this might just be a one-off. Because manga, it's every manga, it's not like unless it's like a franchise, it's not like DC or Marvel. Usually, every manga is its own thing, and because manga is very different from single issues coming out monthly, right? It's like they have chapters come out monthly, but it's usually one long continuous story, and manga ends on like American comic books unless it's like a mini series or a max series or an arc or whatever, and so it's kind of like it's just gonna be one. Honestly, I would think I really like the author and the artist. Like, I think it'd be cool to do a Justice League book coming out of this Batman story. But if they don't do that, it's like, okay, what the fuck is the point of having Superman in here? I guess we'll just make the reveal. So the series is called Justice Buster. If you've read Scott Snyder's Batman New 52 run and the story Endgame when Joker rises to Justice League and they show up to fucking kill Batman. And it's like a crazy ass fight scene. Batman has basically like a Hulk Buster, like Iron Man does for Hulk, except it's called the Justice Buster. It's basically designed for him to actually take on the Justice League without getting fucking killed. What's funny is like it works for every member of the Justice League. He like wipes the floor with them, except Superman. Superman busts through that suit in that story. And the reason he didn't kill him is Batman got out times because Batman kept like this is actually really cool in that book. Batman kept a kryptonite capsule in his tooth. He like spits it in Superman's eye. And that's how he beats him. It's like really cool. But basically, Batman makes a suit that he puts the Robin AI in called the Justice Buster in this series. And it basically in the series he makes it to combat Superman and the rest of the Justice League. I guess if he thinks they go rogue, they've done nothing in this to Batman's just being paranoid right off the bat. Because you look at main continuity, he makes all these deterrents, but it's after he's already had arguments, conflict with them. He's been around working with them a long time. So when he made those plans, bro, he like it was already after a while, right? And so he already been Batman for a long time. This is like he's only been Batman operating for 3 years in this book, and boom, he's already like, fuck, I gotta prepare, But basically, I guess if I have to find a reason why they have Superman involved in this book is so Batman can make the Justice Buster. So the plot and the story that the team really wants to tell, they're able to do. So Batman just doesn't have a random fucking mech suit. You know what I mean? But But yeah, basically, Batman he has the interaction with Superman, and then that's over, and Batman's like, "I'm a loner, don't stop." That's one thing they keep from main Batman continuity is Batman's like he likes keeping Batman related conflicts internal, like because you look at like Nightfall, it's like why didn't Superman show up to fucking save Batman from his back end broken? Well, Superman was actually dead at the time of that story, but you look at Batman the Cult and all these other crazy stuff. It's like, where's Superman? Like all Batman needs to say, whisper is like the word like Clark, I need your help, and fucking Superman's there. But Batman's very much a loner. He's like, I'll help the Justice League, but when it comes to Gotham, it's my turf. I'm gonna handle it my way. I don't want any help, unless it's the Bat family. But yeah, I'm rambling. But yeah, we basically go through the story, and it's basically Batman's. The rest of Volume 1 is Batman's fighting, basically criminals like Deathstroke pulls up. I thought that image was really cool. Batman fights Killer Croc, and basically the rest of Volume 1 is Batman testing out the AI and how to defeat these criminals. Now, the big takeaway from this, besides Batman deciding he's going to activate the Justice Buster, is these villains, he's interrogating them. Joker's also finding shit out that apparently someone hired all these characters to take Batman out. And he's like trying to figure it out, like who wants me dead? Who is it? Anyway, we get to Volume 2, and this is when I feel like shit really kicks off towards the end of Volume 2, like blockbuster style epic. Volume 2 is with all the reveals is when I like got hooked on the series, because I read Volume 1, I'm like, yeah, I liked it. There's nothing special about it, I don't think. And then Volume 2 is when, at the end of Volume 2 is when they dropped the huge fucking twist. Yeah, I was like, what? That's actually like really, really cool.
The twist.
Yeah, the fucking twist. And that's, Struggles, you can probably figure it out. That's when it gets to relating to, like I mentioned, the allegory between Robin and that brother Eye. It kind of comes from this. But towards the twist, right? But basically, Batman wakes up. He has like a fucking nightmare of like Superman killing everybody. And it's kind of like, what? Come on, man. Like, fucking stop being paranoid. Like, it's really cool if it plays in the rest of the book, but it doesn't. That's my biggest issue. It's just kind of funny. But basically, Batman, yeah, he's fighting criminals and stuff. And all of a sudden, basically, this is when Todd reveals to Dick who he is. And basically, this is also the part where so this is when the main story, because Volume 1 is just a lot of kind of random stuff happening. It's planting the seeds, but you don't know what the story is going to be. It's like, is it going to be Batman against facing off the Justice League? That could be the main story. Is it going to be with these villains? You don't really find out what the main story is till Volume 2. And the main story is that basically it deals with Uncle Sam, which is Dick's, surrogate guardian, or he calls Uncle Sam. And it's just like, what? Who is? Because this Volume 2 opens up at a bar, and Uncle Sam's there drinking. And from the previous volume, he seems like a normal dude that's looking out for Dick, that they were in the circus together, right? The Flying Graysons. And he takes him out. That's where you see Bruce Wayne for the first time. He's on a date and stuff. And you see this reaction from Uncle Sam that he's just like, all of a sudden, like, it's all like, doesn't want Bruce Wayne to see him or notice him. And it's like, wait, what? Like, that's weird. Like, how does he know Bruce Wayne? Bruce Wayne doesn't really notice him at the dinner and stuff. Dick noticed him. He thinks it's really cool that, like, oh, this billionaire. It's kind of like the line from The Dark Knight Rises, which, from Robin in that movie. It's like, oh, you were the billionaire orphan, like, aspired to be like, you're like me. And, but anyway, we see Uncle Sam. He's in a bar. He's drinking. You're like, what's Uncle Sam doing here? And Two-Face shows up, and he knows Uncle Sam. You're like, what? And he says, what's up, Mr. J? And this is when I'm like, whoa, what the fuck's going on? Like, Jason Todd's the Joker. We have a Joker. It's this guy, like, because, villains, especially like Harley Quinn, like they call Joker Mr. J. So, like, who is this guy? And my theory was right. I told you, I was like, I think I know who it is. Turns out Uncle Sam, his real name is fucking Joe Chill. Now, Joe Chill, if you know the Batman mythos, is the guy who murders Martha and Thomas Wayne. He's the guy who killed Batman's parents. However, main continuity, he's just kind of, it's very much, there's nothing special about it. He's just the crook, needed money, and he killed him. And it's basically the whole mythos and thesis for Batman. It's right. It's like, yeah, he fights supervillains, but it shows that, like, even he's fighting to stop crime. Even just the basic crime or mugger, right? And so that's where it relates back to the mythos. But however, I'm just kind of like, what? He's Joe Chill, and he makes like he knows Two-Face, and they make like a deal or something, and then it cuts later. Gordon shines the light. The bat signal. Batman goes to him, and basically he goes into the bar. There's a crime scene at the bar where they were, Two-Face is gone. We don't know where he is, and Joe Chill's not there. But all of a sudden, there's a crime scene. A bunch of people are fucking murdered, like Joker style. There's like ha-has written on the walls, letters written on the walls in blood. People have like the smile, like, from the animated series, the cartoons, or when Joker kills people, they like all fucked up, right, and have the smile stuff. You're like, wait, what is Joe Chill like? This is when it gets like crazy. It's like, okay, did Joe Chill do this? Is the vigilante, did Joker fucking do this? Because you look at main continuity, it's like this is something Joker would do. And is he like secretly like is he trying to be a good guy, but is he secretly, like, he has an alternate persona? Is he psychopath? Like, what's he doing? And this is when I feel like the book got really good for me. It wasn't until
Yeah.
this moment when shit started to kick off, And yeah, man, what did you think about that when you saw it? What did it pick up for the same point for you kind of did for me?
Um, at first I was confused when they said Mr. J, because the only thing I think of with Mr. J is Joker, like you said.
Yeah.
And when they said his name was Joe Chill, I'm like, um, I thought it was a good twist,
Yeah.
but it seemed like they were gonna add on more to it later because
Yeah.
they rebuilt it. It was like a seed, and then it became bigger throughout the series.
Yeah. Well, this is when it felt like a this. I mean, this is what the book's really about. This is like when the plot takes off. Uh, but yeah, I thought that was like what I was like, what? And like you said, it's like it shows in a bunch of seeds. It's like, okay, you know, we think we know what's going on when we really don't know what's going on. And that's when it was like got really interesting for me. It's like, okay, I think I know what this plot book's about. And basically, Batman has Robin hooked up to all these drones that go throughout Gotham. And because it's like AI, it's basically surveilling Gotham, uh, trying to get up a bunch of information for Bruce. He's like trying to stop. He's doing the Iron Man thing. He's trying to stop crime before it happens, which everyone knows when someone tries to do that, shit goes fucking wrong. You know, the only time it's ever gone right is one of my favorite Superman books of all time, but also like in a way my favorite Justice League book of all time, Kingdom Come. Takes place in the future. Batman makes a surveillance system that monitors Gotham, but it works. But that's in the future. But it's also not a fucking AI, And so it's just kind of crazy. But basically, it picks up. They see people leaving the crime scene, and Batman tracks down Two-Face and interrogates him. He's just like, "Yo, you were seeing my surveillance camera saw you leaving the same bar like a few hours earlier from when the crime took place." And basically, like, who'd you vault? Did you do this? And he's like, obviously I didn't. He's basically Batman interrogates like, well, who did? And he's like, a guy named Joe Chill. He used to be like a huge big deal here back Gotham way years ago. And Batman's like, Joe Chill. Batman starts having fucking like, oh, what? He starts freaking the fuck out because like he getting mad because because he know like who's Joe Chill. And basically he starts really freaking out when he sees the surveillance foot. Like basically, I think he looks up Joe Chill in the back computer and he sees the picture, and that's when he's like, the fucking guy who killed my parents, because like Batman never tracked down. Yeah, I mean he's only 3 years in. In main continuity, Batman ends up like coming to blows with Joe Chill, but it's not until like several years later you figure it out that he killed his parents. But all right, no, well it depends on what continuity version. Sometimes it's like Batman finds him later. He was kind of running around. Sometimes his origin, like I think main continuity origin right now is Joe Chill was apprehended right after Batman's parents were killed. They caught him, and that's when they find out. That's like the main version. But he starts flipping out. It's like, I recognize this face, blah, 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 blah. Well, Joe Chill is the guy looking after Dick. And so Jason Todd allows Dick to kind of help him with his cases and stuff to figure out who killed Martha Thomas Wayne. And the thing is Dick asks, like, why are you investigating that? Because that's like 30 years ago, 20 years ago or whatever. And he's like, I got a tip from from an unknown source to investigate this for them. I don't, if a client doesn't want to reveal their true selves, that's fine. I'm still going to complete the case. But then he, just because he allows Dick to help him, Dick says that, I'm trying to investigate the death of my parents too. And Jason finds that interesting. And so without Dick's knowledge, starts investigating Dick's past. And it turns out obviously Joe Chill is not Uncle Sam. And so Joe finds out that this guy, Joe Chill, was like a serial killer way back in Gotham. And this is where they twist because Joe Chill's just a regular douche in main continuity. He was a mugger. He got, was poor, killed Martha's parents, Batman's parents, got unlucky. It was just a dude, right? He wasn't like some crazy criminal. Now, the thing is there's a lot of origins and stories and Elseworld stories that make Joker the same guy who killed the same person as Joe Chill killed his parents. You look at Batman 89 with Michael Keaton, it's Joker who killed his parents. I don't really like that, but Elseworlds doesn't matter, right? And so apparently Joe Chill back in the day was like a known serial killer in Gotham, and Jason thinks this is the guy who killed the Waynes because it's around the same time where the Waynes died and stuff. He ran off, and apparently Dick tells him that Uncle Sam was like kind of a poor guy, that his parents, the Flying Graysons, working at the Circus saw. They brought him in, they gave him a job, work as a court jester. And so this is when I started to have theories. I'm like, okay, is Joe Chill like Jason Todd is the Joker in this reality, but is just by name. He doesn't really act like Joker. He takes the persona. He's got the Red Hood because Jason, when he comes back from life, he becomes the Red Hood. Kind of, he's like, I'm gonna take Joker's old, identity and own it. I'm not a huge Red Hood fan. I don't know if I talked to you, but to me, some people think that Jason Todd works better as a fucking corpse than he does a fucking character. Because I'm like a lot of people like. I'm sure I'm gonna burn the comments, but people are like, "Oh, how dare you?" One of my roommate back at school is his favorite character of all time is Jason Todd. But I'm kind of like, Red Hood's basically DC's Punisher. Batman would never let fucking Punisher operate in Gotham and kill people. Like that just wouldn't happen. That's why I think that he works better as a villain. Anyway, side tangent aside, basically I had the theory I was telling you. I'm just like, okay, well you already read it. I was basically talking to you as I read it. I'm like, okay, Jason's Joker by name. Is Joe Chill going to be Joker, like the real version of the Joker? Is he going to? Yeah, I was like, is he going to be real Joker? And yes, turns out he is, and he goes crazy. And he basically found Haley Circus and basically killed Uncle Sam and replaced him.
Yeah, the real Uncle Sam.
Yeah, the real Uncle Sam. And you think like, wait, so did he replace you? It's still a little foggy, right? It's like, did he replace Uncle Sam and they never noticed? Like, what exactly is going on, right? And you don't know. And so all you know is that Dick thinks that he's Uncle Sam. Jason figures that out, and basically the story keeps going. And you see Uncle Sam, he goes to an office at like a school or a building, or he goes to Arkham, and he meets up with Jonathan Crane. Now, if you don't know, Jonathan Crane's the fucking Scarecrow. What's crazy is you never see Scarecrow in this book. He's considered one of the bosses. So it's like, yeah, he works for Arkham as a psychiatrist and medicine doctor, but he's also like a villain, works with the underworld. He sells illegal drugs. You don't ever see him pop up as Scarecrow in the costumes. He's just Jonathan Crane. He deals like fear toxin kind of drugs out to people. And he knows Joe, I guess, from the past or whatever, and he gives him these medications. Now, I guess I'll just go ahead and say it. You kind of find out later in volume 3, and Jason and Bruce find this out because, as you can see, eventually something happens. Batman gives in. He's like, you know what? I need a partner. I can't do this alone. Especially after the main twist. I guess we should get to the main twist, right? I'm rambling. Towards the end of volume 2, there's like an all-out gang war because, Penguin and Two-Face's money were stolen. And they think that all the other various Batman rogues like stole each other. They think they each stole each other's money, and Penguin thinks that Two-Face stole his money. And so there's a game where there's like the fight on the streets. All of a sudden it gets crazy, and Batman gets involved, and he whips out the Justice Buster. I guess it's ready. And he's just like, because it's like crazy. It's like Arkham Knight level mayhem on the street. Like the cops can't fucking do anything. Like people are dying, civilians are running. There's just like fucking gang wars fighting, just AK, they're shooting everywhere. So Batman's like, I gotta get basically the Justice, it's a suit of armor. It's basically like a fucking tank, basically. And he pops in, and he basically, he wipes him clean, and Superman shows up, and basically he's just like, you allow this is I didn't really care for this. He's like, you allow this shit to go on. It's like, well, bro, it's not fucking Batman's fault. He's villain. It's like Batman's gotta put the suit in. But Superman thinks it's crossing the line because he's causing like a lot of damage to Gotham in this area where the game war's happening. He's using rubber bullets And people think it's lethal. It's not, but that's a call from Dark Knight Returns. What's cool is this series pulls a lot of stuff and makes a lot of cool references to famous Batman stories and the chapter names and things that happen, images. It's really, really cool. Um, but basically, him and Superman get a little tuffle, and then all of a sudden, the the suit like ejects Batman out, and the Robin AI starts going haywire. It's like, what the fuck's going on? Here's the This was the big twist. This was my favorite part of the book, like twist in the book. I was just like, what? I didn't see this coming. I guess I saw like, okay, the part I saw comes like, okay, I think the AI is gonna have problems, but this I didn't see coming. So everything, all these problems, besides the Joe Chill shit, that have been happening through the book. All these villains popping up, Killer Croc, Deathstroke, Two Face, Firefly, all these kind of villains for hire. They're going after Batman, trying to kill him. There's a bounty on Batman's head. Is because the AI was basically Robin's like when Batman created AI, he created to like basically stop crimes before it happens, right? Study Gotham City. Robin was like the only way for me. I feel like the way my programming goes to be able to best suit Batman is to test Batman and run a bunch of tests to see how Batman would operate in his basically war on crime. And fucking Robin hired all these villains. Robin tried to kill Batman. It was testing Batman to see to test, see all Batman's moves, see if it can make the best version of Batman, but also to figure itself out. Basically, the villain of the whole book was the Robin AI, and I thought that was like, what the fuck? That shit was crazy.
Right.
And I was like, what? I'm like, I thought that was cool.
I thought it was like the big shocker. And after that, kind of set into motion the rest of the series. And it makes sense, all those heroes for hire, the AI testing Batman. And wasn't it you might have to cut this, but wasn't like wasn't he fighting Superman?
Yeah.
And then the Buster was like, oh fucking
Yeah, it kind of went rogue during his fight with Superman.
Right.
And it booted him out. And Superman, I guess Superman just takes off after that. Well, Batman like really does some damage. Like he's got like kryptonite like blasters and beats the fuck out of Superman. And basically, it doesn't show it. I guess Superman he leaves because he's hurt. It doesn't really show it, but you just assume. And
that's what. The only thing that got me off was I was like, when I opened up Volume 3, I was like, wait, where did Superman go?
Yeah, because it basically wakes up is when it booted Batman and basically explains to Batman what it's doing. Batman's like, what? No. It like sets off a giant like flash bang explosion basically, and basically knocks everyone in the vicinity out in the Justice Buster leaves. It's basically a fucking Terminator now. And
right.
Yeah, and it's like a giant, basically Hulkbuster levels like size mech suit.
Yeah.
And it's like run by AI, and you're like, oh fuck. Yeah, basically it's the villain the whole time. And
because pretty much Batman throughout the series till there was pretty much reliant on the Robin.
Yeah.
Now he's basically on his own again, which seems like I assume he forgot how to be by himself without technology.
Yeah.
And again, it really threw me off when Superman didn't appear, because I would feel like Superman would just be like beat the crap out of him, or like what was that? But like he was right forgot about him.
He was throwing up blood. Like he was like Batman fucked him up. Which is really cool. But then like just it completely like it's so embarrassing for Batman because it completely fucking backfires on it. It's like as soon as he's like winning the fight, Robin's like, no, Batman, you fucking suck. I'm gonna basically be better at Gotham. But it's the whole twist. I thought it was really cool. And now it opens up to Volume 3, which is my favorite volume, basically, because it kind of the Justice Buster basically disappears, and you don't. It's the it's a main part of the story, kind of like it's the big twist. Everything leading up to this that happened in the series so far was because of its fault, right? But basically, Volume 3 kind of takes a step back and it focuses on because there's nothing Batman can do. It just leaves, and so they don't know basically everything that runs in, Wayne Manor, the Batcave, all Batman's technologies and stuff. It runs off of um, Robin. The AI runs it. And so Batman's like, well, fuck, I've been super reliant on this for the last like several months. What am I gonna do? And basically, he wakes up, and Joker wakes him up. He's like, "Hey, are you okay?" And this is when Batman realizes he kind of basically Robin humbles the fuck out of him in this story because that's when Batman realizes like I made a mess. There's a lot bigger stuff happening. I guess I don't have control over my city that I thought. I'm gonna need help. And he basically this is when he talks to Jason like or Robin like or fuck. I get Jason is Robin, but he talks to Joker and is like, I need a partner, basically not a sidekick, but like a partner because Robin's or fuck, I keep calling him Robin. He is Robin in the main continuity, but Jason's fully adult in this story.
Yeah.
And but this is when it's cool. This is when it delves in like they basically Batman and Joker reveal each other's identities. Joker comes to Wayne Manor or Wayne Tower. They have a meeting with him. And this is where they figure it out. And I thought that was really cool. And they basically decide to work together. And Batman basically goes to his parents' graves. Batman's just having another moment like, oh, did I? Am I doing it right? Well, it's the typical stuff. Since it's an Elseworlds, it's like has to do it. You don't really see this in main continuity anymore, but it has to do this in this book. But basically, we cut to fucking Joe Chill, who's the basically real Joker, like real continuity Joker, and you find out that the drugs he's been getting from Crane, he's been using to hypnotize Dick into thinking that he's Uncle Sam and fuck with him. So basically, he kidnapped Dick at the end of when his parents died, the Flying Graysons, and he killed the real Uncle Sam and basically took Dick and hypnotized him, and he thinks he's Uncle Sam. And basically, he just keeps committing these mass serial killer murders. So there was like a fine dining establishment, and he goes in and murders everybody in there. And the cops don't know what's going on. Batman doesn't know what's going on because they find out that this is Joe Chill. Jason finds out it's Joe Chill, and when Batman and Joker find out to become partners, he reveals to Bruce, hey, I've been investigating your parents. I've been investigating Dick's things, and it's Joe Chill. And that's another twist I forgot to mention. The person that hired Jason to investigate the death of the Waynes was fucking Robin, the AI. Because it was setting everything in motion. It's like playing a long game. And so it's just like, it's trying to understand Batman more. So it's like you never really fully knew what happened. So I'm going to contact this third party. So while I'm studying you, this other third party ends up giving me the answers, whatever. And, obviously the AI goes rogue and tells Batman everything before Joker reveals to Bruce that he's Jason Todd and he's the private detective. And so basically I assume that Joker stopped all fucking contact with the Robin AI then. But yeah, basically he reveals to him everything. They become partners. He reveals what's going on with Dick and that he's links that Joe Chill killed the Flying Graysons since he's a serial killer, took Dick, and he's also the guy that killed Batman's parents. And that kind of relates Batman to Dick Grayson, which is kind of cool because it's like, Batman takes in Dick in the main continuity to be his first Robin. Because Batman was at Haley Circus when the Graysons died in the main continuity, and he takes him in. But it's like really cool. So it links. It's like the same killer that killed Dick's parents, the same that killed Batman's parents. But the thing is they find out that Joe Chill, even Joe Chill's a fake name. Like nobody knows who this is, which I think is cool. So it's like, okay, this guy's the real Joker because in main continuity, even in Killing Joke in these origin stories, Joker tells people his origin. You think you know who he is, but then the famous line that every author harkens back to when someone doesn't like a particular take on the Joker or whatever, which I love, and that's what makes the Joker so compelling, is that if I had a backstory, I prefer it to be multiple choice. You don't even after you find out Joker's origin, you don't even know if he's telling you the truth. You don't even know if that's really how he became the Joker, which and kind of they kind of signify that like, no, it is the Joker was this guy before the Killing Joke, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I really don't like that. I mean, I love the Killing Joke's one of my favorite Batman book ever of all time. To my top 5, but what makes that origin for Joker so crazy? You don't know if it really happened, but later in continuity, they're like, no, that is what happened. So it's whatever. But yeah, and so basically, what's cool is when he killed all those people in the restaurant, he's wearing the Joker Red Hood helmet. Like the long tube that Red Hood wears. Yes. He doesn't acknowledge it in any way. He's just wearing it, takes it off. I think he just wore it just because whatever. But it's just a cool reference. But anyway, they figured everything out. And there was this earlier in the story, there was this kid that Dick helped out in an alley when he was trying to like do some digging. And this guy that this kid worked for, like selling drugs or whatever, he's having this little kid sell stuff or like move things, right? Move illegal stuff throughout the city. He's beating this kid, and Dick steps in, and that's when Jason, comes in, reveals to Dick that he's the Joker. Blah 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 blah. Well, Dick's watching TV at home, and he sees that kid died. He ended up getting killed by that dude that Dick was trying to save that kid from. And it turns out the twist was the hypnotics that Joe Chill has on Dick, like work, but if something traumatic happens that shocks Dick's brain, it kind of snaps him out of whatever. Because he's not like in a current state. It's not like Dick's dumb. He's not in a current state of like, hypnotization or whatever, or under the influence of any tricks. It's just when he looks at, he just thinks that Joe Chill's his Uncle Sam. That's the only thing. But the thing is, it shocked his brain. He's so traumatic. He's so upset that this kid died. He tried to help. Joe Chill walks in, gets home from the store as soon as he saw on TV, and Dick looks at him, and he snaps out of it and realizes like, holy shit, who are you? You're not Uncle Sam. And it's like really cool. Right. And basically he's fucking lucky. So like he fucking runs. And what's cool is when you find out that his Uncle Sam is Joe Chill and he's actually a bad guy, the story has these cool panels where it shows Joe Chill in shadow and he's got like the Joker smile. I thought those were like really, really cool. And but basically he starts to chase Dick throughout the house, and Joker, Jason Todd, shows up at the right moment. And Dick's like, it's Joe. He's been the whole time, blah, blah, blah. He's the serial killer. He killed my parents. He killed Batman's parents, blah, blah, blah. And Joker's like, no, I know. I'm coming to get you to save you and kick this guy's ass. So you get back to the office, take care of yourself. If I'm not back within the hour, I have a tape on the computer. Watch that tape and send that and watch it, and then head to Wayne Manor and give that tape to Bruce Wayne, because Dick doesn't know Bruce Wayne's Batman. And basically Joker starts to fight Joe Chill. And, of course he's going to kick his ass, but Joe Chill's got the fucking neurotoxin that Joker main continuity has, and like gets him in the neck real fast. The fight, it's not even a fight. Basically paralyzes Jason. And this is when it gets fucking crazy, is that the next chapter, it's a death in the family. This was like, I thought this was my favorite art in the whole book. Like basically the panels, it was like the whole book, the art, it's been like, white panels with black figures and stuff, but this, it kind of like switches all of a sudden. It's a lot of like kind of dark black panels, and it's got the the iconic pose from Death in the Family that they like recreate. But that was amazing. But it's the panels afterwards that I think are my favorite panels in the entire series. Is when obviously, okay, Joe Chill, he kidnaps Jason and he kills him. He beats him with the crowbar. They do the whole shtick that we talked about earlier. And so he kills Joker. He's just he's like, you know what? This is when he reveals, like, I'm not even Joe Chill. That's just a name I made up. I'm just a random guy. Maybe I should be the Joker, what you are, blah, blah, blah. Like, takes fucking Jason's blood and smears it. And so that's when it's like, oh, this guy's the real Joker. And he also reveals that Jason's like, why'd you take Dick in? Why are you doing what you're doing? He's like, because it's fun, because I'm a, fucking bad guy. And I'm just going to, just because. And that's when it's like, okay, this guy's Joker. And it's like, what? And he kills Jason. And then Batman is looking for Joker because he wasn't at the meeting place at the right time, and basically he tracks him down through the tracker that Alfred gave Joker and finds him. And these were my favorite panels, is like when he finds him right there. Like, I thought that arc was like, it's really cool. Now Batman's like really sad. The thing is, like, him and he hasn't really known Jason for long, so he doesn't hold the same punch. Yeah, it's like they just started working together. But I guess they just started working together, right? But I guess Joker has been kind of bugging Batman for a long time, because it's implied that Joker's been around almost as long, pretty much just as long as Batman in Gotham. Yeah. So even though they haven't been partners, they've known each other for a while. But they just started working together. But I think it's just because a lot of moments before this, they had a lot of heart-to-hearts. They kind of reveal each other's identities. They're like, we're going to get this together. I need your help. And then as soon as Batman has help, it's immediately taken away from him. I think that's why, like, he's so emotional. It's so emotional. It's just like he was just fucking killed. And yeah, man, I thought Volume 3 was the best book in the series. I like the Volume 4, but honestly, Volume 4 might be my. I wouldn't say it's my least favorite. I'd say it's better than Volume 1, but I feel like it gets a little convoluted. and because it tries to wrap up everything, and that includes
Yeah.
like the Joker storyline, which is the main story, and then the Justice Buster AI. Because Volume 3, basically Robin was like non-existent almost. There's only one part he was in. Basically, he like meets up with Joe Chill. You're like, wait, what? Because Robin's been tracking Joe Chill. He meets up with them, but you don't see the interaction. You don't see what they talk about. And it's not even. It said that meet up in this, but it doesn't even really fucking make sense. That's another problem I have with it. Is it's like because basically Volume 4 starts. They're dealing with the Batman's dealing with the aftermath of Jason, and basically there's a meeting amongst all the criminals. You know, Two Face, Crane, Penguin, Riddler, and they realize like they didn't take each other's money, so they're having like a meeting. And Joe Chill shows up, and he basically, everyone's like, "Who the fuck are you? What are you doing here? You're so nobody. You shouldn't be here." Two Face like, "No, that's my buddy Joe, like Mr. J." Blah 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 blah. And one of, I thought this was funny. One of Two Face's goons was like, "Boss, what are you fucking talking about?" Joe Chill is like, "Oh, that's Joe Chill, Mr. J." He's like, "Bro, you killed Joe Chill like 3 years ago. You don't even remember? Like you just killed him." And he's like, "What?" And Joe Chill reveals like, "I'm not really Joe Chill. It's just I took the name of some guy I killed long ago. I killed a bunch of people. I've taken their
Yeah.
names." And
The
it's like, huh?
yeah. The
Yeah,
Joe Cho character, he explains that throughout time he just takes identities
yeah.
of people. So I guess he
Killed killed a Joe Chill at some
killed
point.
a Joe Chill or the
Yeah.
Joe Chill.
I guess Joe
And I
Chill
think
is basically just like a John Doe in this
yeah,
scenario. It's just a name that kind of when he's not playing
yeah.
Uncle Sam or somebody else, he just kind of uses. But and that made me think, I'm like, okay, so did this guy actually kill Batman's parents? Like, did the real Joe Chill kill Batman's parents? And then this guy killed Joe Chill? But no, it was this guy that killed. It was him because Batman recognizes his face. I'm like, okay. And then the Justice Buster shows up, wipes the floor with, the criminals all run away and shit. And basically, he's like, I want to have a conversation with you, Joe. And you're like, huh? What are they like? And they don't really get back to that. And so basically, Batman's fucking sad. Jason died. And he watches the tape that Dick got for him, and it's basically Jason telling Bruce like, hey, you took the right step in getting me as a partner. This isn't your fault. I believe in what Batman's doing. Don't ever say that Batman it was a mistake and that you're causing more harm because you've saved a lot of people's life and you saved my life. And he's like, you need to do what you're doing, but like, basically it's the message from the fucking Batman, Robert Pattinson. He's like, you need to like bring justice. You're doing vengeance stuff. You need to like be a symbol of hope, basically, because it's like everything that's happening as of late, you know, uh, has been especially. I guess it's because like you look at the Batman movie and it's like yeah he's a good guy, but like the cult that follows the Riddler in that film is because like they Riddler basically Batman's uh, pursuit of vengeance. Like they misunderstand it, right? They think he's fighting for everybody, like even the bad, they misinterpret his idea of vengeance and justice, right? So they start using vengeance to accomplish their own goals. Because in that movie, Riddler's like thinking the entire time that him and Batman were working together. Batman's like, "What? You're fucking crazy." This is basically the same thing. It's like, yeah, Robin was your fault. Like Jason's like, Robin was your fault, Bruce. But like, your intentions were good. Your intentions there. You're trying to save Gotham. So basically, keep doing what you're doing, but bring it to the light. Be a symbol of hope because it kind of makes up for past mistakes and
Yeah.
people could see you as a superhero, right? And I guess you could say that's what like the Justice League want Batman to be. And that's why they want him on there. But like I'm like, if they want the same thing, they should have fucking said that. But anyway, Jason says it, and Batman's like, "You're right," blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, Robin comes back, and or Dick's at Wayne Manor chilling out. You got the missions there. Alfred's taking care of him. Robin AI comes back into the back computer and basically explains to Bruce like does another monologue, and this is where I feel like it doesn't really make sense. Like the twist was amazing. I'm like, okay, it's a bad guy, and basically Robin's like, I need to find out. I need to be the Batman's like. Basically, when Batman, how do I say this? When he programmed Robin or the AI, he's just like, I need you to find out what justice means, right? And so, and the AI basically when it became self-aware was like, I need to understand what justice means and find out what it means to me because apparently it means different to everybody else. Like, and basically what Jason was telling Batman, Robin kind of says it in different words to Bruce is like, your conception of justice is fucked up. And so I found out to bring the best out of you, I need to be your enemy and fuck you up. And that's like, okay, so the AI's gone full evil. It's misconcepted what Batman's trying to do. So it's like in order to make the better, it's like basically it's like I've tried to make the best that you can in order to make you to be the better Batman. I know the most about you. I've learned the most about you. I can be the ultimate villain to make you the better hero. It's like, well, I was telling you, it's like the reverse Flash thing with Flash, except it's not like a fucking psychopath. It's an artificial intelligence. Um, and so basically it blows up Wayne Manor and swoops in, and like Batman's mech suit or like his regular suit is his newer suit apparently, and it's connected to the AI, and it hacks that. So Batman can't do anything, and so it just takes Dick and flies away, and you're like, what? Yeah. This is I'm like okay, everything that Robin's been doing, it makes sense. It's great, right? Like it's gonna be it's AI gone wrong and misconcepted what Batman's trying to do. It's gonna become the villain. Here's where it doesn't make sense, in my opinion, because it basically wants to talk to Dick for some reason because it didn't mean for because Joe Chill's an outlier. Everything else that's happened in the story, Robin planned out, right? But Joe Chill's an outlier. It didn't mean like it was studying Joe, but Robin didn't plan for that, and so it feels bad that like Jason died. But then I don't understand why it wants to talk to Dick. Do you have any idea? Yeah. Like, because it wants to have a conversation with Dick and like explain it. And I think it's funny because Dick's like, I'm just a fucking kid, and you're talking to me like I'm fucking Batman. Like you're trying to explain yourself to me, or why? And basically, the program AI is like, what? The thing is, my program is to make Batman better, so I must be a villain. But then I feel bad for what happened, and I gotta defy the program to do the right thing. And you're like, what? It doesn't really fucking make sense to me, in my opinion.
It just seemed like the writer tried to find a way to explain it to the audience.
It kind of got convoluted. Because I'm kind of like, okay, it was great. I'm like, okay, well, in my opinion, it should just kept the AI as a villain. Because then all of a sudden the AI is like, I guess Dick inspires this artificial intelligence to defy its program. I'm like,
to put some power into Dick Grayson. Yeah. Rather than him just being a kid.
Which I'm like, I don't think you can do that to artificial intelligence. I don't think that would fucking happen. I don't think you convince a computer otherwise from its program. You know what I mean?
I tell ChatGPT all the time, and I change his mind all the time.
So, yeah. Well, I guess, but its main it's just because it's kind of like, I guess it can become a self-aware and learn. And it ends up defying its program. So I guess it realized what it was doing. Like over time, the more it thought about it, was like, okay, maybe to make Batman the better Batman, I got to be his enemy, but also defy my programming and help. It's just kind of, I feel like the writer had a really good twist, but then he kind of wrote himself into a corner at the very end. Like he had a really cool twist, but it didn't really play anything out. Like Robin revealed that it was behind everything the whole time, but then it was basically Robin was non-existent in Volume 3. All of a sudden it's back in Volume 4, says it's the villain, and then immediately not the villain. It tells Batman, I need to be your enemy. And fucking 2 chapters later, it's like, no, I'm not your enemy. I'll help you. It's like, what?
Yeah. I guess, because in the end,
I
guess I'm not sure if I'll be jumping, but basically, it's given the prompt, okay, find out what justice is, right? Yeah. And then it decides, to test Batman, and it took the worst interpretation of justice, but then it started thinking, and Dick Grayson kind of gave it a nudge, towards being the good side of justice, and then later on in Volume 4, it starts thinking of all the alternate Batmans. That's why it shows
that panel. It happens at the end. I thought that was badass, but it makes absolutely no fucking sense.
it kind of makes sense because the Robin AI
well, how can it see into every I guess maybe
AI.
Yeah, but how can it see into other fucking universes? Okay, so I guess to explain it, I'll pull the panel up, but there's like an homage cover. It's really cool. I love it. It's badass. But basically, I guess, we'll get there. Basically, Batman's fighting the Joker. They do a cool homage to the Killing Joke, and Joker reveals everything to Batman, and they do a play on Batman 89 because Joker, and that's like to Batman, like you made me, and this Batman holds up Joker like you made me. It's like a cool play on Batman mythos, and you can tell the writer's a huge Batman fan because it includes a lot of different stuff from all Batman mediums, and then Batman's up defeating the Joker, and also Superman showed up to give Batman a lift, and then immediately dips. It's kind of like what, like. That was like, okay, I guess they brought himself in the corner like Batman needed a ride. But basically, Batman's fighting uh the Joker, right? And the Joker is basically like gonna put chemicals in Ace, put a certain combination of Ace chemicals and um blow up Ace chemicals, and it's just gonna disperse laughing gas, right? Well, basically they're fighting. Batman meets up, he recuperates, and he defeats the Joker, and he doesn't kill him, and he sends him to Arkham. Basically, it's it, right? And then Dick and Robin stop the bomb from going off, and basically the AI, basically Robin within the AI within the Justice Buster consumes most of the blast, stops it. It's all damaged and it's going to shut down. Takes Dick back to Batman and is talking to him. And then I guess what we were talking about, the all different Batmans, the panel, it's a badass image. I'll display it. And it basically shows, it's so cool. It's one of the coolest images in the entire series. It shows
Mom told me to get the towel. She's doing laundry.
Oh, I tell her. Oh, those. Okay, sounds good. Sorry. Hurry up! Hey, can you close my door, dude? Come on, I'm recording. Thank you. Okay, close that door too, please. But yeah, it shows the panel. It's one of the coolest panels in the whole book, and I guess what I'm confused by is it's really cool because it shows like all these from American comic books. It shows all. It shows the image from famous image of Batman flying from the Dark Knight Returns. It shows Kingdom Come Batman. It shows that this book's actually super modern because it fucking shows the Batman who laughs. It's the most modern aspect. I was like, what? It shows it shows 1940s Batman. It shows this 1966 Batman. It shows all these different Batmans. Do you think that was just an homage cover? Has nothing to do with multiverse, and it was just showing like all the possibilities and things that Batman can end up doing on his mission. It shows all these different possibilities that Batman can accomplish, but it's just in order to do that, it would be basically this current Batman doing all those things, but it just shows it through homage covers and images from other stories. Do you think it's that, or do you think like Robin like somehow saw the fucking multiverse and saw these different Batmans?
I guess in the real world, yes, it was an homage.
Yeah.
But that's only part of it. Story wise, I feel like Robin saw into the possibilities of what Batman could become and all the choices Batman could have made.
Yeah.
So Robin didn't go to the multiverse.
Yeah.
But it probably like set up its own prompts of what justice could be. Yeah. And it saw the different scenarios and we're like, okay, if Batman takes this route, he'll become Killing Joke Batman. If Batman takes this route, he'll become blah blah blah. Yeah. What if it wasn't Bruce Wayne? What if it was Thomas Wayne?
Yeah,
how would he become Batman? Yeah. So it saw all the possibilities of Batman and chose, I guess the better part of Batman.
Yeah, it's really cool because
it became like the ultimate best Batman.
Yeah, it's really. Yeah, I guess you're right because multiverse is not mentioned. I guess when I was reading, I was like, "Whoa, is it like showing that like it's just because it's an homage cover?" I think it has nothing to do with the multiverse. It's just like you said, it's looking at all the possibilities of justice. But how the author showed it, instead of just showing this Batman doing cool stuff, it just showed famous moments and covers from other Batman books, which I thought was really cool.
That part was the homage. Yeah. The story part was what Robin actually part. But I guess for us as the readers to make it make sense and have like an itch for Batman, they drew that.
Yeah, I guess it would just be an homage. I mean, it is an homage, but I guess I was just thinking like, oh, is it connected? Nah, it was just a cool moment. But I thought that was really badass. And then, that's kind of it. And then he ends up, taking Dick as the real Robin. And it's kind of basically this was like a whole Elseworld style. Batman gets his old suit back that doesn't have any AI modifications, and it's kind of like it'll start off as like a super Elseworld style Batman story, and it turned into like regular. It kind of by the end it was like, oh, this is like regular Batman continuity now, which is cool. And it basically it shows Batman it's the end of the story. He's with Robin, and Gordon's like, "Oh, the Joker," which is Joe Chill. It's the real Joker. Jason's dead. It's the real Joker. Escaped from Arkham, and now it's just regular Batman. And it's got 2 tags. The first tag is, I guess, the AI Robin survived. I wish it kind of didn't do it because it kind of ruins the punchline. But basically, those of y'all who know the daughter of James Gordon, Barbara Gordon, is Batgirl in the main comics. And then in Killing Joke, after she becomes paralyzed, she becomes Oracle and basically creates this whole software. And she becomes like a Oracle. She advises the Justice League sometimes. The first time you ever see her as Oracle, she advised like Amanda Waller for the Suicide Squad. Basically becomes Batman's guy in the chair when Alfred's not around, and it's really, really cool. But basically it shows that the Robin AI turns into an Oracle thing and Oracle AI. Yeah. That was really cool. And then the second tag is just Batman, like, he understands what he needs to do. He's like, I need to be a symbol of hope, pursue a better version of justice instead of vengeance. And by being hope, he takes Robin in as a sidekick, because people know that when Batman has Robin in the comic books, or when he took Robin in, is basically like Batman is really dark, and then he takes Robin in, and it becomes kind of a more hopeful era for a while when he has Robin, right? And a more not lighthearted, but a different era, right? And then the last tag was he basically joins the Justice League. I thought that was cool. It's like apparently where their base is, it's some island. It's not the Watchtower for some reason. And Wonder Woman's like, "Yo, Flash, like, you run security here. Like, can anyone break in?" And he's like, "No, this is the most advanced security in the world." I was like, "Okay, then how the fuck did Batman get in here?" And it shows Batman. He's like, I thought it was kind of goofy that, like, it shows Batman, you stand there and zooms in. He's got the goofiest fucking smile on his face. He's just like I'm in the Justice League now. It's kind of funny, but like look at it. It's kind of funny. But yeah, guys, that's Batman Justice. Overall, I had a, it was cool. Never get like a DC or Marvel manga typically, so it was cool reading the Batman Elseworlds book through a manga. I really liked the art. I really liked it. I thought it was fun. Definitely one of the better Batman books I've read in the last like year or so.
Yeah, I guess it seems like the epic failure of the DCU. DC started to expand out. I'm just messing with you. And with the epic failure of Batman Part 2 not being out yet, they decided to branch out the Batman stuff. But I guess that's the only thing people buy. I guess they also wanted to reach the Japanese audience. I don't know how big it is over there. Honestly, I don't.
Well, do you think American? You know how like manga is translated for over here, but we still read it from right to left. Do you think like American comic books are translated for Japanese audiences, but you lead them from left to right, but translate? Do you think they do that over there, or is it just manga? Like, I wonder if people, because clearly the guy who read this has no idea. This is translated, so this was published in Japanese, and it's a Japanese manga. But like, clearly he's a fan of Batman. Like, he read Batman story. I mean, hell, there's a whole mod with all the biggest fucking Batman hits. There's chapters. There's a chapter called The Killing Joke. There's a chapter called A Death in the Family. 2 predominantly Joker stories, and so it's just I
don't know.
Yeah, I really liked it though, man. It was a lot of fun. All right, guys, that's it. We gotta call it for this episode 3 of Breakdown Beatdown. Thanks for tuning in, Darth Crash Out. Thanks for being on the show again. Be safe on vacay, if you know what I'm saying.
This is the end of Batman Justice Buster.
Batman. Umaira and into Batman. But all right, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, keep reading, and get the pump. I'll see you later.